just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy.
What is up, everybody? I am Chris Knight. This is the Mandalorian Roundtable. Oh, yeah. Austinator will be here in just a little bit, and by all means, until he gets here, we'll see how long that's going to take. You guys can unmute. We can talk here for a few seconds. I know we got some interesting poll questions coming up, so guys, check that out. And I'm getting a tweet together right now and making sure it gets out. So you guys,
hey Chris, do you get
watching,
copyright claims for that music?
Not that I've seen. I don't think so.
Okay.
Let me check real quick. Nope, nothing's come up. Oh wait.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, actually.
Oh, did
yes. Yeah, but let me see here how much of it it's actually claiming. Star Wars maintained, and it's claiming less than 25 seconds of it. I can go back and I can probably fight that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, you know. What's going on, guys?
I figured the end part is what they would claim because it sounds way exactly like Duel of Fates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's okay. I can handle it. I've fought enough of those damn things. Fought enough of those damn things. That's all right. How you guys doing tonight? Doing all right?
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go around and have you guys introduce yourselves while we wait for Austinator. Start down there with Onzo. Onzo, actually, we'll move Onzo up and put Shifty down on the bottom. Put him in the corner.
As it should be.
Anyways.
Big Afford Entertainment, guys. You know the channel. Last night we did the Rule of Three, which was a really good show. It was fun. Tonight we're doing the Mando. It's going to be a war between me and Shifty. I can promise you that. But other than that, tomorrow night's the OOC, and on Fridays or every second Friday we do tournaments. I'll see how this Friday goes, but yeah, good to be here.
Awesome. All right, and next, Nindroid. Tell them about your channel and all that fun stuff.
Alrighty. You guys can personally find me on Star Wars Network. That's my channel. And tonight I will just be doing a live reaction to the Mandalorian season finale. So yeah, kind of looking forward to it.
Okay. Very good. And Shifty?
I'm just Shifty.
Yeah.
Thank God tonight is the season finale. Then I don't have to worry about this show anymore. Last episode wasn't horrible. I'm gonna say that. But we'll get into the topics and things I didn't like and what I did like. But yeah, we'll see.
All right, then let's go ahead and we will start by talking about our overall thoughts. And I will start with you, Onzo. Go ahead and give us your overall thoughts on episode, or how do we do this? Season 3, episode 7, chapter 23.
Yes. Overall thoughts, it was okay. It was a pretty okay episode. I know there's a lot of people out there that are capping for it. I mean, it is the best one of the season, but that's not saying too much when the season has been, yeah, hasn't been horrible, hasn't been great. But overall, I mean, it was okay. It was an okay episode.
All right. Android.
Okay. This was a really good episode in my opinion, actually. Best episode of the season thus far. And yeah, like I wish if the whole season was like this, because it actually feels like there's a story behind it and all of that. And me liking this episode does not mean that it fixes the entire season, though, because it does really little to fix it whatsoever.
Facts. Facts.
And
That's sorry, Ninja, but that's one of the biggest caps is people like, oh, the episode's good and the season is fixed. And I'm like, no, just because you got 2 good episodes at the end doesn't mean the season was good.
no, exactly. And that's really all I have to say, Chris.
Okay. All right. Shifty, overall thoughts.
Great episode. I liked it a lot. I still think episode 4 had better moments, but yeah, this was a solid episode, and I'm super excited for the finale tonight.
Okay. My overall thoughts are simply put that it was a decent episode. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. Why is there a roundtable for last week's episode when the newest episode comes out in a few hours? Because, Robert, that's just how it is this week. I normally do it on Sundays. But
Mr. Storms, what's up?
So I think that I'm not sure if the whole season's been totally ruined throughout the season, but I do think that this is the best episode, and I do think there's a lot of things that they could have done earlier, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But overall thoughts, good episode. I thought it was very good, left off pretty well, and sets up a good finale, possibly. We'll have to see tonight. But now let's go to our likes, and we'll start with Anzo. Go ahead again.
Crimson Guards, I liked that. The fight was okay. I had some issues with it. We'll get into that with the issues. But I mean, overall, I think I don't know, there's not really much more I could say. Like I really loved things in this episode. Of course, seeing Moff Gideon again, that was great. You know what I mean? I think he was the best part of the episode, to be honest with you. But other than that, it's not much else, man.
All right. Enjoyed?
Okay. There's actually quite a bit that I liked. First off, every single scene with Moff Gideon, Moff Gideon steals the show. Let's just put that out there. It completely felt like, oh, shit, now I'm back in season 1 and season 2 of Mandalorian. We actually have a serious threat and all of that. I really like that. The scene of him with the Shadow Council, which the Shadow Council is a thing in the Aftermath trilogy, with the remnants of the Imperial officers. Love that scene. I do like how it connects things. I do like seeing Palion there from the Heir to the Empire trilogy, Thrawn's right-hand man, as well as Brendel Hux, referencing General Hux, of course, for the First Order. I liked how they also name dropped Thrawn, some more setup for Ahsoka. I liked also the whole thing. Okay, so when they went to Mandalore and they're going, I do like that. Hey, Moff Gideon actually built his palace, or his underground lair,
His base
within Mandalore and all of that. I like that twist. I like Moff Gideon, his reasons and why he's been after Grogu all this time, or at least what I took from this episode. He wants to make the ultimate super soldier. He sees that, the clones had good things, stormtrooper, the Empire. He's like, everything. I want to make the ultimate warrior. That's what I'm getting at with what he's trying to do. Because he said there's great things that the Mandalorian culture has, great things that the cloners had, the Jedi as well. Like, he's planning on getting all of that and mixing it all into one. I like that quite a bit. That's different for Star Wars. And I like that Din got captured, actually. And I love Paz Vizsla's death with the Praetorian Guards coming back. So I do like that quite a bit. Besides really anything Moff Gideon or Imperial related, yeah, that's really it.
Okay. All right, Shippy.
Okay. The Blade Runner-esque cold open in the underworld of Coruscant, that was fantastic. That was just, it was unlike anything we've really seen in Star Wars because it was just so dark looking and maybe a little bit too much like Blade Runner. I don't know. I still want my buddy cop show set on Coruscant, but when that probe droid came down, that the droid was actually kind of frightening. I mean, it was a great scene. The Easter eggs left and right with Snoke's. I guess that they're Snoke's. Nendroid said they're maybe ultimate warriors that he's trying to make or something, but they were bigger looking people, so I thought they were Snoke's. I don't know. And the tanks when he was walking through that corridor, Captain Palion from Heir to Empire, that was cool. Hux' dad, that was cool. The Mandalorian ships when they arrived at Navarro, that was a nice shot. That they had the insignia on the bottom of the light cruiser. How long did that take to paint? You gotta wonder, that big old emblem. Grogu getting the IG-12 mech suit. That was really neat. I hate that I forgot that the leaks Drunk 3PO dropped over a year or more ago where he told us that was going to happen. I totally forgot about that and was still surprised. So that was a good thing I forgot about that. Also, Tony Gilroy is probably going to get pissed because he couldn't work that F-bomb into Andor, but Favreau managed to sneak one in that scene right after that Babu Frick alien yells "No squeezy." If you listen closely, he yells, "I'm out of here, motherfucker," and that got a pretty big chuckle out of me. Paz and the member of Bo's tribe reacting to what's left of Mandalore before they drop down. That was a great scene. I like the wooden ship. That was cool. We don't see stuff like that in Star Wars. I mean, I still think we need to have like oceans in Star Wars at some point. Besides the Phantom Menace, we haven't really seen anything like that outside of that one episode of The Bad Batch. Mando's pledge to Bo. Some people that's foreshadowing his death or something, or maybe setting up a romance. Running bets are he's either going to die or he's going to ditch the mask or he's going to be mind wiped because, if you think about it, at the first of the episode, Gideon tells that girl, he says, like, continue your mission. Well, what could her mission be? Maybe she's stealing the tech to get the mind wipe machine or the tech, and they're going to set it up for Mando in this episode, mind wipe him, and maybe he's going to turn bad for next season. That'll be interesting. It was a nice Axe Woes flew Grogu to safety after that big dinosaur ship. Right after Grogu told him, quit fighting, settle down. I thought that was a nice touch. Nice battle between the Mandos and the troopers. Bo knew not to bother with the Darksabers as they were wearing Beskar armor. And despite the fact that Beskar is rare, doesn't mean the Empire wouldn't have stockpiles of it and other valuables. As we learned, they had warehouses full of riches after the Clone Wars, as seen in that two-parter of the Bad Batch. So I'm assuming they did the same thing during the rebellion.
But when you have to assume something in a TV show instead of them telling you, it's bad writing.
It's not bad writing if you don't know something like that. They have to surprise you at some point. If you knew they had Beskar stockpiles, right?
We
If
didn't
they-
have to know that, but they could have explained something in this episode to say why they had it. When they don't
If
do
you-
that, and you have to assume they had it stockpiled or whatever, it's bad writing.
It's not bad writing. That means we wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised.
All right, listen. You both can have that say in it. I mean, I don't disagree with Anzo, although I am the champion of I'll assume this is what's going on. You're allowed to assume
Yeah.
it. I understand Anzo saying it's bad writing. It's not our job to assume things. There needs to be some of that put into it.
Exactly.
But if they told us, then we're like, oh, well, they must have Beskar armor or something they're going to pull out later. If they have stockpiles of Beskar, I mean, what else would they be used for besides giving it to Mando?
You're saying everything. Whatever you're saying is fine. What I'm trying to explain to you is when they don't explain it, it's bad writing. Why is that so hard to understand?
It's not bad writing. It's saving stuff to set up a surprise. If we knew that they had stockpiles of Beskar armor, we would assume that they would.
They could have told us after they showed us that he had fucking Beskar armor.
Moff Gideon could have said what do you think I've been doing here?
Or something. When they don't do
Well,
that, it's bad writing. When it's just like to say, oh, well, let's just assume that they have stockpiles of it.
Have you watched the new show from Bob Odenkirk, Lucky Hank? He's a writer in the show, and he's telling his students, you do not, this is one of the things of good writing and bad writing, you do not put in elements that you don't need to. It's pointless telling the Mandos that, oh, we had Beskar stockpiles all along. You don't need to know that because you know.
But they've made it to where the belief is that there are parts, there are hordes in places. Like the guy in the first season handed over a lot of it, but even he kind of mentions the fact that it's hard to come by. And the way that the armor and other people have mentioned is they don't believe there's anything left in Mandalore. If that's why he's there, it would help. Under the impression, it would have helped for him. Okay, Shifty, obviously, wait, for time's sake here. Obviously, you don't agree with us. And I understand your side of it, but let's go forward with your likes.
Hold on. We're talking about a government, right? A government, and like I told Anzo before the show, gold or uranium, plutonium, that's hard to come by, right? Who has that stuff? The United States has plenty of it. All right? Okay, so why can't we just assume that Beskar, they have a bunch of it?
You're allowed to assume. You assumed that's what they did. That's fine. Okay.
I'm not saying you can't. What I'm trying to explain to you is them not telling us is bad writing. Why is that hard to understand?
We don't need to know that they had it.
All right.
If
you want to finish your likes, finish your likes.
I am.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I will. I don't see why that's a problem. The reveal that Gideon had set up shop in the Great Forge and Paz's fight with the Praetorian Guards, that was cool. Him staying behind reminded me of Jason Momoa's character in Dune. That scene where he said, go and I'll fight these bad guys, and he died, That was cool. Nice touch. Having his gun overheat, too. That's straight out of the video games. I thought that was awesome.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Very good. So my likes, I kind of kept on thinking because, by the way, the name of the episode was The Spies. Obviously, they're spies, and what's weird is nobody was outed, okay? And I know this will come up here in a minute because, Shifty can bring it up if he wants right now. There's a theory out there that the armor has been in cahoots with the remnant of the Empire, and actually, I think I found an article that said that this armor actually worked with Darth Maul.
Yeah, we went over that last week.
Okay.
Kind of, but it's either her or Axe Woves, because he took off during the middle of that battle too. So
yeah, I see. I think it's the other ones that they gathered because that was kind of set up. That's who probably busted him out. I don't think it was the armor, but the armor might be working with him. I don't know. Anyways, I do like that they didn't tell us that. I'm with you, Shifty. I mean, obviously, Moff Gideon has some sort of access to it. They're at the Great Forge, fine. Maybe there's lots of, Beskar still down there. But, that's something that you kind of say. If that's been his whole play this whole time, hey, I had this done, you don't say 2 seasons ago, whatever their cycle range is. You say, hey, 15 cycles ago, this was built.
Who does that benefit, though? He doesn't need to tell the Mandalorians that because and we found out.
I have a question for you then. Why does every evil person in a movie or anything, like
Facts.
in Bond, why does the Bond villain point by point go through their scheme? That is a trope. And it is a trope. It's a trope. Listen, it's a trope that's been done in Star Wars. Star Wars, hey, we're going to circle the planet, and in a minute, or the Emperor did it in freaking The Return of the Jedi. Watch your rebellion as they die with this fully functioning thing. Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not like you can use the excuse that the trope has not been done in Star Wars. It has, and it helps. The reason why they do it, the reason why it's such a trope, the reason why people in Austin Powers and stuff make fun of it, is because that is a way, in a very short amount of time, here's the face-off. There's Din Djarin, who is the Mandalorian, which the name of the show is after. So he is the main character, no matter what they do with the other characters, no matter who takes the lead during an episode, he is still the main character. It is still between him and Moff Gideon. And Moff Gideon at that moment goes, "Did you think that that your armor was made from the last of the Beskar? Did you not think that I had thought of these things beforehand? Did you not think that I may have already been here doing this? We started this years ago." Yeah, but what I'm saying is that is a way of... No, it isn't. That is not bad writing. What that is no.
It is.
Shifty, let me finish. Let me finish, Shifty. What that is a way to insert a more dominant role for Moff Gideon over Din Djarin, saying, I was ahead of you. Here is why I was ahead of you. You didn't know this, but this is why you didn't know it, because I hid it from you. And this then shows you, oh shit, he's got all the cards. Din Djarin's caught. What's his name? The guy with the big gun. I just forgot his name. That died. Yeah, thank you. He's dead. I have you. And it's just like the Luke Skywalker moment almost, except on the opposite end. Look, I've won. What are you going to do now? And that's the same type of thing. Because the Luke Skywalker moment was, if you want to be honest with it, that came out of nowhere. That had no reason to be there. And nobody complained about it, even though it was not necessary. But that is a good plot armor way of fixing a lot of problems all at once. And that's why villains give the details.
And you know why
they fix everything at one time.
You know why they also need to explain something, Chris? Because if that were the case, how come Mando is the only one with Beskar? Why don't other Mandalorians have Beskar armor?
Grogu has it, and Bo has a piece of it.
They have pieces of it. Mando's whole suit is Beskar.
Yeah, you're talking about basic people compared to people from a former government.
No, I'm talking about Mandalorians.
I'm gonna finish here really quick, guys. Go ahead, Chris. I like the whole thing. I like that they didn't give us. I mean, because the weird, sailing Mandalorians. That was one group that it could have been. All the little surprises. I mean, I did kind of see or think that Moff Gideon was going to show up in this one, so that made sense. I'm still not sold on the armor, but I do like the chance that she could. I think she's just not aware.
I think it's the guy that flew away. I think it's him.
I think so too. And I don't. And again, going back to writing, I don't give them enough credit to write in a character that's been around since season 1 as a spy and not have made any reference to it at all. But maybe they did. Argonauts. Yes, that's very, very funny. Yes. The Praetorian Guards. Yes. And the best part about that was it took them no time to defeat that guy. No time. And that's how Praetorian Guards were supposed to be. They were supposed to be like the elite, just under like Jedi. They're almost
Well,
like the
To be fair, all he had left was a vibro blade and a shield.
it doesn't matter, but they're very precise about it. Look at what they did to him. I mean,
Yeah.
they basically were just. But that was a very cool way of doing it. I don't think it was the greatest fight in the world, but hey, it was cool. It was fun to watch. Those are some of the things I liked. You guys said all that stuff. And we will now go to dislikes. Dislikes, and we will start with Shifty.
I don't have any.
None?
None. I liked it. I liked the entire episode.
You have not one. Not
Not
one
one.
mild gripe. Not one
one.
mild.
Nothing. Nothing. It's not. Okay, maybe one. It's not as good as Andor, but yeah, it was great.
Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Nindroid, go ahead.
Okay. The beginning when we saw Kane talking to Moff Gideon with the Imperial probe droid, right out in like the open area, like in the background. I'm sorry, someone would have realized that there was Imperial probe droid on a New Republic planet. But okay. That's just a little gripe right there. A little gripe, not a big one. The next one. Okay, so we go to Mandalore. Okay, good. Okay, solid. And then we get to there's now a ship, a wooden ship. That's like they're pirates. And it's like, what's the thing with this season with pirates now? Now we get Mando pirates. Hey, yo, wonderful, fantastic Mando.
I'm telling you, man, when you can't finish your Pirates of the Caribbean like movie series, you gotta use the stuff you have for it in the computer somewhere.
100%. So Mando
these
is
pirates-
right there.
These pirates were cool though.
Well, anyway, that kind of caught me off guard. And then also the biggest negative that I actually had, and it's such a small seed, but we saw another freaking dragon thing pop out, and I'm like, oh my god.
Facts.
Oh my god. What is Jon Favreau's obsession with
Facts.
freaking huge dragon things?
He is mad because they didn't accept him as a producer or director on any of the Game of Thrones series.
Yeah, probably.
or the Tolkien stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Because I got so annoyed at seeing it. Like I was like, oh no. My other negative is that like Bo-Katan once again to me stole the show from Din Djarin. I wish if Din Djarin did more in this episode again. I mean, like, he could have done quite a bit actually in this one. And the thing is, I'm surprised that he was actually the one to get caught instead of Bo-Katan. Also, another negative that I had, now that I just remembered, why didn't Bo-Katan use the Darksaber?
Thank you,
when
Nindroid.
Din Djarin
Thank
Din
you.
Djarin was tied up and all of that.
Thank
Why didn't
you.
she use the Darksaber?
Thank you.
Like,
She
There was a
uses
blast
it,
door. There was a blast door between them and Din.
but there was a blast
She
door that
could've-
she used to cut
yeah.
to free herself from. So why
We
didn't she
saw-
cut it? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was dumb.
exactly. We also saw Qui-Gon Jinn do it on the Trade Federation starship
Yes.
in Phantom Menace. So
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Facts.
That's not an excuse right there. She could have legit saved him. And Vizsla, I mean, I did like his death and all that, but I think he could also gotten away, to be fair. You know, because he actually did destroy the frickin' troops very easily and all of that. And he could have just ran off after that, but no, he stood and he's like, all right, let me just take on these guards and all that. So I guess that's not like a negative, but it's like you could have ran off, buddy. But yeah, those are my negatives, Chris.
Hey, Chris,
Hmm.
what's up with that poll? The first one, 37 votes, and there was only like
I see
5 people
that.
watching.
I don't know. Listen. It says 9 on my thing up here. It jumps around. I don't ever trust these things anymore. I have no clue. I saw the 37 votes. I was like, what the hell? This one's up to 11. The new one is, and I left it up for a while, so somebody jumped in. I don't know. I don't ask questions when it comes to YouTube anymore. It's like, who knows? Okay. So I'll ask Denator, since you're here really quick, we're going to have you give your overall thoughts and your likes and your dislikes.
All right, so my thoughts.
Did you bring
on
enough
this
travel
episode-
biscuits for everybody?
Let me check. No, they're all out.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, man,
Go
they're addicting.
I know.
So maybe it's just my standards have gotten so low, but honestly, I thought this episode was pretty solid, but it was not perfect. I'll get into that in my negatives because there's a lot of stupid shit. But I'll talk about. But I'll start with my positives. Visually, it looked good. I'll give them that. I thought this looked great compared to most of it. The action I thought was great too. Moff Gideon, I thought he was great in this episode. Glad to see him about 7 episodes in an 8-episode show, but it's great to see him as always. The Vizsla death, I thought was like that. Well, again, that in my negatives too, but I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. At least he didn't go out like an idiot type of deal, which he kind of did, but it was kind of cool. Like, he didn't just go out like a loser. He at least went down fighting.
Yep.
The ship blowing up looked cool, I guess. Trying to think. No, that's it. Negatives. Grogu being in the droid was kind of stupid.
Dumb.
Like, doesn't he already have like the sphere thingy that he can move around in? And I guess in a way it was supposed to like it was sort of to tie in the whole IG-11 thing or whatever, but it was just kind of dumb the way they did it, type of deal. The pirates, like, again, why were they there? It was just kind of did they really add anything? No. So that was kind of just like all right, let's introduce characters 7 episodes in, fine. The dragon, again, it's repetitive. Like, and I think that's what it's gonna come down to. Is I just think it's starting to get a little repetitive with a lot of these things. And yeah, Vizsla's death, as much as that was kind of cool, the fact that he could have just left, instead he was just like, no, I'm just gonna die. Like, he doesn't even want to be in the show anymore. It's like, fuck it, this show sucks. I want to leave. So, all right, I guess I should respect him for it, but at the same time, I'm like, huh? Like, okay.
Man. And he also is portrayed by Favreau as well. Yeah. So he's I'm gonna die.
So is that his way of telling us, yeah, I'm done with this show. Screw this, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore.
Interesting.
And yeah, Bo-Katan not using the Darksaber was kind of stupid too. I mean, you have it. You could have used it.
At all. She doesn't. Yeah.
So why are you like? Maybe the situation didn't really come for. Like, maybe, like, I get that she's in the air and she's probably had her blaster in her hand, but it's like, if you're on the ground and you could use it, just use it.
Well, yeah, but they have Beskar armor. So, I mean, and, we found out that the Darksaber doesn't, hurt Beskar, so.
But she could have at least still used it, though, to be fair.
And I'll get into some of that too. Because go ahead, Ninja.
And like, I don't know. I mean, I just felt like as much as this episode, at least I'll give it this, it does a lot for it. It doesn't necessarily fix the season overall because it was still kind of it's still rough. It's still a very messy season regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But I at least appreciated it for at least like going, okay, you know, they tried. Like, I'll give them that. They tried. I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck them for doing this, that. No, it's like, look, you tried. You kind of had to work with what you're given at that point. It's like, okay, you know, for what they were able to do, you know, it's fine. Oh, back to my positives real quick. The whole explanation of, you know, how Moff Gideon got the Darksaber, and I thought it made sense for the most part, if that, you know, having to give it up to to maybe save the Mandalorians.
Thanks.
I'm like,
Thanks for bringing that up because you reminded me of something.
Like, I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, I don't know, it's a little weird, but like I could at least understand why. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm just kind of honestly, I haven't seen this episode since like whenever it came out, so I mean, I'm just going off what I remember, and while it was a solid episode, it had some things in it that kind of made me go, ugh. But other than that, that's really all I have.
Okay. All right. Nindroid, you already did your dislikes, right?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's Anzo. Yes, go ahead.
Here we go. Okay, so first off, Austin had just brought up something that he reminded me of it. I'm like, if this is one time for a fucking flashback, right, to show him Moff Gideon getting the fucking Darksaber, whatever, that would have been perfect time to do that, and you don't give us a flashback.
I agree with that. That's actually
one
of
my
negatives too.
You talking about it, but you don't give us a flashback. But when we had Book of Boba Fett, you had fucking boring ass flashbacks left and right through it, right? That was an issue. Grogu in that IG droid was so fucking dumb. I did not like it at all. I'm like, wait a minute. First off, he was fine, like you said, in the flying thing he was in already. And two, he uses the Force. He doesn't need it. Like, now I know they established that if he uses it too much, he gets tired or whatever. But in this episode or in this season, when he's trying to save Mando, he force pushes that creature and then flies off, so he could do little things without getting tired, right? All that. Plus, he was training with Luke for 2 years, so his fucking force ability should be a little bit in tuned a little bit more now, right? If it was 2 years, I don't know that timeline. They're kind of iffy on it, right?
It was 2 years.
It was 2 years. Okay, so it was 2 years. So I'm like, okay, so you could be a little bit better with the Force there. The Darksaber thing, why the fuck did she not use the Darksaber? I'm sitting there and I posted in Twitter and then I went back and watched it again. There's scenes, you're talking about the Beskar armor, but there's scenes where the Beskar armor is getting shot by fucking blasters and they're dying. Certain scenes they're getting blasted and it's not affecting them, and then in other scenes they're getting blasted and dying. I'm like, what is this? Like, is it bulletproof or is it not bulletproof? Right?
Between the plates.
Then you could have used the Darksaber to fight between the plates, right? The scene where they first get into that little cave in, right? And it's like, oh, we're surrounded. I'm like, fly. You guys have jetpacks. You can fly. Not one Mando flew in that scene, in that fight scene. Not one. The only one that flew was the one that tried to escape. The rest of them are fighting on the ground while the stormtroopers are flying around all over the place. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, fly. And then you don't use the Darksaber. Then you get to the part where the blast doors shut, right? And when it first shuts and they have Mando there, she takes her gun and she hits the glass. And I'm like, wait a minute, you have the Darksaber. Why are you not fucking trying to break that door with the saber, with the Darksaber? Like, what are you doing? Right? And then she pulls it out and uses it for them to escape. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what is wrong with this?
She had cover fire though. I mean, if she's going to, it took her 40 seconds or more to open up the escape hatch, right? If she's sitting there and they see her trying to get to Mando, they're going to just aim for the hole, and when she drops that plate, boom, 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 she's going to die. They're going to kill her.
They could have shot through the hole. They could have done anything, right? You open up a hole and you're hiding behind a door while your hand's peeking out. You're shooting, doing something. They could have done anything. Plus, it was a blast door with glass. The top of the fucking door was glass. Now it was bulletproof glass because the bullets were hitting and they were bouncing off. But the Darksaber would have fucking smashed that glass easy, right? The Darksaber is, if I'm not mistaken, Ninja can tell me this, is just as powerful as a lightsaber. Now I know she don't have force powers and probably can't use it as good as a Jedi, but she's very capable with the Darksaber. And for her to just not use it at all in any of that fight, that's her strongest weapon. And she does not pull it out to fight. That was dumb. And then we got into all the best car stuff at the beginning, so I'm not going to get into all of that again. I'm just saying that drove me fucking bananas too, right? That it's like, wait a minute, everybody has best car now? So that was a problem. Like they said, Nindred and Austin said, like the dude, he could have got away. Like, right? He didn't have to stand there while the Crimson Guards were walking towards him. You know what I mean? You done know you already exhausted your gun, right? And I like the fact, well, I'm kind of iffy about it, but I kind of like the fact that it overheated a bit. But again, I'm like, do they really do that in Star Wars? I don't know. So, but whatever. I thought that was okay. But other than that, yeah, man, I just was like, the flash in the pants fight scene and stuff like that is just not enough to get me past all of the bad stuff that I seen in this episode. Like, I love to see the fight actions and stuff like that, and I don't even think the fight was that great because there's one scene which I watched like 3 times, right, where they're on this edge and some stormtroopers are there, and they actually push a Mandalorian over, and he falls to his death. And I'm like, you have jetpacks. What are we talking about here? Like, what are you guys doing? It made no sense. It made no sense to me. But other than that, that's about it for my negatives.
Okay. I think I have some of those negatives. I think the biggest negative I have is the fact that I don't know. It's all or nothing. It's like they do a lot in one big thing. There was a lot of stuff they threw at us that they had 6 other episodes they could have thrown stuff into. So the whole thing where they're doing the thing with the doctor trying to break free and get whatever the hell to continue his thing, that would have been probably a better time to at least admit that Moff Gideon was free. We knew he was going to be free. It's not like you were saving anything. You could have even shown that the Republic finds his craft that he was being transported in after that. You could have shown that in like episode 3 or 4 or whatever, and it would have been fine. Because it doesn't matter when they find out. We already know, but now we know they know, and now there's a bigger problem. Because now, then you get that guy to come back and say, hey, we got a bigger problem than these Outlander things going on. Moff Gideon, I found his ship that he was being transported in. He's not in there. There's Mandalorian or Beskar in it, and everybody else was dead, but he wasn't there. These things being placed in it didn't have to all be in 2 episodes, basically.
Right. And Chris, just to go to your point, right? This episode could have been about, starts off with Moff Gideon, then showing him escape or like hinting that he escaped. And it could have been about Mando and him trying to bring Mandalorian back together. But we know in the background, Moff Gideon is trying to get at them, right? Now that Moff Gideon is in there, this was the perfect time for him to beat Mando, take the Darksaber, then Bo-Katan has to fight him and beat him and get it back.
That would be fun.
Yeah. That would be awesome, actually.
I think that a lot of that, it just goes to show it. I mean, we come up with these ideas, and it's like, well, if we can come up with these ideas, then why aren't they coming up with them? And maybe they are, and they're just passing them off, going like, I don't know if that would work or whatever, which obviously it would. But I I think that those things, again, it's pacing, it's timing, it's where you put stuff. You don't always have to have the answer right there, but once you show that he's free in this episode, when he shows himself, and again, the exposition of it all is that he would then talk about how, hey, and I think right there, yeah, the whole having, because I talked about it when he lost it on Mandalore the first time, and she picked it up. Yeah, that made sense to me. But it would have been better had he kept it. She never picked it up. And then at this point, Moff Gideon took it from him. That would have worked. But during his exposition of, I have had this place since the first time we've met. This is where I was keeping everything. That's where the Beskar has been coming from. Do you find it surprising that you got all that Beskar from an Imperialist? You wrap in the two seasons worth of stuff. I was here the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's why nobody's come back to Mandalore, because I have kept them from coming, because I make these things happen. I make people believe these things. All these rumors you've heard is because of the Empire, because of me. And then you say, yes, and it was even me that orchestrated my own, escape. At that moment, you show the escape. You show something that looks like a Mandalorian arm or something, but not anything that's going to tell you if it was the armor or the other guy. Because if we're believing it's one or the other, you make that still very vague, but you make it very apparent that the some Mandalorian had something to do with his release. There are ways to have done that. Now, I'm with Shifty on this. I don't need that. I'll make that up on my own. I did it for freaking so many other things that they've done. No, that is not the right way to do it. I understand. And so it's what you want. But, I just think that, it's like, wow, okay, you guys can do this. Why weren't we doing more of this earlier? And that's the biggest problem. And again, though, if they knock it out of the park in the next episode, everybody's going to be back for season 4. They're going to want to see that. They're going to want to see what happens. So, let's go with final thoughts. Any predictions you have for the finale and your grade, please. And we'll start down there with Shifty. Shifty, grade, final thoughts, and predictions, please.
Solid A. Predictions. There's 4 possible outcomes for Mando. Maybe he dies. I don't think he will. I think he might be mind wiped. There's a possibility he's just rescued and ditches the helmet if the armor is revealed to be a traitor. But I'm not sold on the armor being a traitor right now, because you got Axe Woves that could be the traitor. There might not even be a traitor, because the people that broke him out of the ship, Gideon
could have been stormtroopers. Yeah,
it could have been stormtroopers. So everybody's going off. Who's the traitor? I do hope it's the armor, though, because I just think that would be cool, and it would allow Mando to be like, well, screw the creed, I'm taking his mask off. And then he'd go plant a kiss on Bo-Katan, and she's like, when was the last time you brushed your teeth? And he's like, well, back in episode 4.
Okay. Let's go. Go forward.
Here's one thing I will say, Shifty. You said you don't think Mando was gonna die, and I was like, oh, that's stupid. And I said that, but I'm hearing rumors that him and Disney had a little falling out, so they
that's why I said it last week.
Rumors, though, right? But again, if that's the case, there could be something to that. But I'm with you. I don't think they will, but there could be.
Like I said, I think the likely scenario, and this is like a huge leap, but I think Mando is going to get mind flayed. I think the secret mission that the girl on Coruscant is doing is trying to get the tech that was used on Pershing to alter his mind. I think he's going to get mind wiped and maybe be evil next season, being with Gideon, and that'll be the whole pull for next season, to where Bo and Bubba and everybody, they're all going to gang up and they're going to try to go rescue. It'll be like Return of the Jedi, basically. They're going, instead of saving Han, they're going to go save Mando. Let's see. And I also think Grogu's going to say this is the way at the end of the episode because they hinted it back in like episode 3 or 4. He tried to say it, and they both looked at him and it's like, what? So I think that's going to probably be the last line of tonight's finale. And then post credit scene, maybe we'll see Thrawn or Ahsoka, or maybe they'll show the unedited Star Wars Celebration exclusive trailer that they had for Ahsoka. Filoni said he didn't end the series with anything necessarily to set up Ahsoka, but who knows if he was just downplaying it or not.
Okay. All right. So, Austinator, final thoughts, grade.
Oh God, it's
predictions.
me. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to remain consistent with my grades, and I'll give it a B minus. Comparatively, this is the strongest episode of the show. Does it necessarily save the season for me? Not really. I mean, it's still the same problem. Like, I still have a lot of the same problems with the season in general. Like, it's still messy. Like, I feel like, again, an issue with these shows is the structuring is terrible.
Agreed.
The structuring, the pacing, like, it's not working. And you would think by the year 2023 that they would have figured it out by now. They would have cracked the Krabby Patty secret formula, which clearly they haven't.
Hey, how many seasons did Plankton have to crack the formula?
Over 20.
I know. And did he ever?
No.
Okay. So what
What are
makes
you
you
talking
think
about?
in 3 measly seasons of The Mandalorian they would have cracked the secret recipe to the Krabby Patty?
Well, to be fair, they also had a season of Book of Boba Fett, a season of Obi-Wan, a season of Andor. You had a season of WandaVision, season of Falcon and Winter Soldier, season of Loki, season of What If.
Preach.
Good point.
So,
Good point.
we're still kind of at a point where it's like, all these shows have come out and we still do not have any consistency. It is very concerning. Which I'm which you would think. So maybe I'm just getting my hopes up and maybe Ahsoka will fix it. Probably won't, but at least got to keep the hopes high. As far as what's going to happen next episode, I don't know. I mean, maybe Boba Fett shows up. I don't care. Like maybe he'll show up. Maybe he'll show up in a bacta tank or something.
I forgot to mention R4's there. R4's with him. He's probably going to call in the Republic, and we'll see some X-wings versus some TIE fighters. That'll be cool.
Interesting. I don't know. Like they're probably gonna bring in Thrawn or something. At this point, does it really matter? No. I don't know. I mean, maybe in the Ahsoka show, Thrawn will show up in the last 2 episodes or something, because clearly that's what these shows like to do. Yeah, no, that's really all I got. B minus for me. It was probably the best episode of the season, but it wasn't that good. So that's all I got.
Okay. All right. Din Droid. Final thoughts, grade, and predictions.
Yep, a solid B. I thought this episode was the strongest episode thus far, but I still have quite a bit of negatives. And also, this is still the weakest. You know what? Yeah, I'll actually say it. This is the weakest season of any live-action Star Wars show, in my opinion. I actually prefer Book of Boba Fett over this. I prefer, Obi-Wan. So, yeah, because at least Book of Boba Fett was the main character for most of it, besides 2 episodes. Where Din, Din is Din in this season. But anyway, for predictions though, man, I really hope the armor is actually the spy, but I don't have hope because guess what? I can easily fix Pedro Pascal's whole thing with the helmet. He can finally ditch the helmet and he can be the main character. Also, another thing is, okay, so Din is either gonna, we do know from the director. He did make a tweet, and he also said during Celebration that this is a very emotional and impactful episode. Like someone's like gonna either sacrifice themselves or something like that. Okay, so my top 3 guests, of course, Din. He might die. Okay, I hope he doesn't, because then I would be like, okay, you know what? I'm like, enough is enough, almost. Like, this is your face. This is your new face of Star Wars. The only thing that's doing successful, and you kill off your main character of it, like, no, I'm sorry, that won't work. Grogu dying, that won't work for merch sales.
No.
Plus, he's got the chess piece too.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. So then when I was thinking, I was like, what if Bo-Katan actually died? Because then she could die, and like I was thinking that I was like, maybe that might actually work, to be fair, because this whole season was building her up to something, and if she like sacrificed herself at the end, that could be potentially pretty alright. And I do think the armor's the spy. If like, I hope she is, at least. I don't really know for certain, because honestly there are 3 candidates. One, the armor would be the best because of Din's story with the whole Creed and helmet taken off thing, as well as one, she has the same horns that Moff Gideon has.
Yep.
All right. So that's another one. Also, she so happily leaves during the episode as well, rescuing the rest of the Mandalorians. And also, she was the one who said that Mandalore was poisoned.
Yep.
You know, that where Moff Gideon is, that was poisoned wasteland and all that. So that could really fix that, honestly. But anyway, then we have that Axe Wolves is a given, because one, he has like Gideon's Star Cruiser and all of that, and also like he just doesn't like Bo anymore. And then my third thing is, what if those pirate Mandalorians that were just chilling on Mandalore, they could just be the spies, to be fair.
Yeah.
They led them to them. They led them to that place, right? And they stayed there for how many years? So they could just be the spies as well. So it's like, but that would be the least interesting. I would make it more interesting, so I hope the armor is that. And for me, what I hope with Moff Gideon, at least, and this might like shock people, I hope Thrawn walks in and he just kills him. Straight up. Because I'm sorry, but if Moff Gideon loses in this finale, I'm like, okay, so what are they going to do? Just put him in prison again?
Exactly.
Like, no, I'd much rather, like, he does escape, but then Thrawn comes back because of Ahsoka, and this is the post-credit scene, and Thrawn just shoots him. He's like, hey, I heard from Palian that, you know, you talk shit about me and all that. I'm the leader here. I'm the heir to the Empire, all right? And he just kills him like that. Perfect setup for the rest of all these shows. Ahsoka, Mando Season 4, all that. Now you made someone even stronger, Thrawn, as the next antagonist. Great. But that's my hopes, at least. That's all.
What about the Mythosaur?
Mythosaur? Yeah, I think Bo-Katan might ride it. But
oh my God! Don't say that.
I think she's gonna ride it too.
No more riding anything.
Yeah, she's gonna ride it. She's gonna ride it. Trust me, she's gonna ride it in the final episode, 100%. You know why? Because they said, "Hey, look how good it was in Book of Boba Fett when they rode the Rancor. Now we're gonna have a ride of Mythosaur. Watch.
Did you see?
That's another thing.
Go ahead.
That's another thing. The poster of the Mandalorian, the latest poster for Mandalorian Season 3 actually features Boba's helmet with his den on. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, if Boba kind of like comes in somehow in this last episode, I would actually really like that, because I mean, Mando kind of took over his fucking show. So You know, like you might as well just give an episode of Boba Fett just for
They
him
need
to
to
take
take.
that.
They need to take that skirt off of him, though. I know it's
somebody,
not a skirt, but it looks like one. They need to take that off.
so, somebody posted a meme today or a poster that they had made a Photoshop, or it might have been an AI poster. It's Dan looking up at the mythosaur, but riding the mythosaur is what was it, the Rancor, and then riding the Rancor
Yeah.
is Boba Fett.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what's gonna happen. Trust me, Boba Fett's gonna be riding the Rancor, and then the Rancor is on top of the Mythosaur. So come on now.
And then it'll get on that big dragon.
Mandalorian.
It'll get on that big dragon too.
Oh yeah.
And they play some black sheep and like do black sheep's this or that. You can go
Yep.
with this, or you can go with that. You can go with this, you can go with that. As they're riding down the plains of Mandalore.
Like a bantha.
Oh my god.
I forgot something in my dislikes, and I know Shifty said he liked it, but that wooden boat was trash. That was garbage.
I love boats and stuff. Cool.
I
It
didn't
just
like
makes
it.
no sense how the hell that happens, because I'm with you guys. Okay, so wait, so finish up Nindroid if you got anything else.
Nope, that's really all my predictions and all that. The biggest thing though that I'm worried about is that this episode apparently is going to be only 39 minutes.
Yeah, I heard that.
Like I'm sorry, there's so much that you have to do within this last episode to make it make sense. And the problem is, I don't even know anymore if this is a part 1 and part 2 scenario, because we got Ahsoka taking place in between it. So
Mhm.
how far is it taking place and all of that? Because if Thrawn shows up, I'm telling you what, I think first thing Thrawn does, he would probably kill Gideon or have a talk with him. So I'm like, okay, what is actually gonna happen now? Like,
I would think that. Go ahead.
I think that Ahsoka, at least some of it's going to be taking place right after she fought that chick earlier in the Mandalorian, because why would she wait around 2 or 3 years to go after Thrawn when she found out where Ezra and him might be? So I think it's going to be taking place all through different points in time. So it's going to be jumbled up.
All right. Okay. Anzo.
Yeah. My grade for this one is I'm gonna give it like a B minus. Again, it was okay. It was passable for an episode. I don't have any predictions because where Star Wars is going, I have no idea. So I'll just watch it and see where they go with it. But yeah, I'm glad this is the last episode, to be honest with you. Thank God. We got rid of the Bad Batch, now we're getting rid of Mando. Bring on Ahsoka, and please don't let me down. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Final thoughts on this. Good episode. Yeah, going back to the where will Ahsoka be placed? I think it might be placed in between season 2, partially Boba Fett. I think we'll see a lot of what she was doing during those times, and then it might show Thrawn do something to Moff Gideon to kind of claim that, I'm back type thing.
Mhm.
And that will get incorporated into Ahsoka. Or maybe they throw Ahsoka in the final scene where you see that Moff Gideon's there, Thrawn's there, she's there, and Moff Gideon says something to Ahsoka, and Thrawn looks at it and says, sit this one out, and shoots and kills him. And that's where it ends. And then that's the final episode of Ahsoka where they fight. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying, there's lots of cool things they can do. But why I don't think the armor is the Spies, because I just don't see them writing a 2+ some odd season character with no whatsoever hint at being a traitor, all of a sudden flipping and becoming a traitor. You have to give some amounts of hints. I mean, for instance, if you watch Christopher Nolan movies, you know that he gives you the answer to the riddle of his movies at the beginning. He gives you some idea at the beginning that what's going to happen at the end. Just, it always comes out like that. anyways, I give this, I would say, I'll give it a B, solid B, B plus, maybe I'll go B. And I don't think it'll be the armor. I don't think Din Djarin's going to die. I don't think Grogu's going to die. Bo-Katan, maybe. Everything they do in this has to, and I've said this since the series came out, has to lead to the Disney trilogy. It has to. So we have to get to a point where Moff Gideon doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get to a point where the badass is, oh God, yeah, what's his name?
Snoke.
Thrawn?
Snoke, thank
Snoke.
you. Snoke. Snoke's got to come up. You know, and Snoke, what can you do with Snoke? Well, he looks like a mishmash of parts put together.
Can I point something out? Okay.
Well, you get to that. All these things could lead to Snoke. Eventually, if you want to bring the cloning stuff into it, you can show Snoke in it or something. That would help, or at least get to a point. And then if you really want to use the character, which I think a lot of people will agree with me, Snoke was pretty kick-ass. It was a cool idea. The right thing to do then would be weave it in. If 4 is going to be the last season and you're going to do a movie, then you weave it in and he is in that movie.
Yeah, Snoke could be the one that's, controlling Thrawn.
He could be.
What I mean?
And the thing is we know that ultimately now, as much as many of us hated it, ultimately it is the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got puppets.
Yeah.
Acting like the big people. So it'd be nice to see that. What's going on, guys? Scar, good to see you there. So I just don't think, now, yeah, I would love it. Maybe the armorer dies. Maybe that's who dies. I don't see him killing Bo-Katan, but she is, of all of them, the one that you could kill. That would have a lot of impact. But I think the armorer would too. Because then, yes, that would allow him to not worry about the Creed anymore and say, listen, the Creed is dead because she's dead. It's gone. We have to fight together. And we don't need to be putting these petty differences between us. We have to put these petty differences aside. Or Bo-Katan could say that. But that, to me, I think what you might see is the other guy that was the hired guns guy fight her and kill her.
Mm. Well, you see, here's the thing, Chris, like you were saying, right? It would make sense that she died because remember, she told Bo-Katan that she's the one that has to unite the clans, right? So if she dies, Bo-Katan unites the clans and tells everybody, well, you don't have to keep your helmets on, and it can end with like everybody taking off their helmets, you see their faces and all kinds of stuff like that.
Sure.
So you could do something like that as well.
It has to be something like that eventually. I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but it's something like that. Mm-hmm. Din will die. Bo-Katan will take over for him. I don't know. There's a poll up there. Guy Scar, if you want to vote in it, it's got 16 votes right now. Yeah, I would love to give them credit for writing awesome stuff in, like, the armor, do that. I'm not saying this is a horrible show. I don't think this whole season's been horrible. It's just missed opportunities. And I think, Austinator, was it you Austinator said the same thing I've been saying for a long time. How many of these series do we have to have where the same issues come up every time? We get lost in episode 3 or late in episode 2, and then 3 goes by, 4 goes by, and then by the time you get around to 6, you're like, wait a minute, we have to actually wrap this up or give this some sort of conclusion. And that seems maddening. And I think I said this before we ever did the Mandalorian Roundtable. When we talked about series for Star Wars and Marvel, that they had to understand that they're not used to series. Mm-hmm. They have to understand. Well, okay, let's rephrase that. Marvel had done Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter. But I think when they started throwing their movie characters into it, they kind of thought these were like mini movies. They could have lulls and high points and low points. You can't do that in a series. It has to have a high, low, and a point in every episode. Mm-hmm. Even your sidebar episodes have to have something tying it back. We've said it 1,000 times. There, in Star Trek, in all these episodes that we watch of all these shows, Law and Order, CSI, there's a guy, there's a serial killer that keeps popping up every once in a while. That's the main thing for 2 or 3 seasons. But that impending thing is always there, and something's reminded of that. You're always reminded of these little things, and they haven't caught on to that yet. They're literally the reason why people are taking these series and cutting them into to like hour-and-a-half movies or 2-hour movies is because that's what they are. They're movies that have been split up, and they're split up in the wrong places. And I don't know. I'm with Austin here. I don't know how many of these you have to do before you realize, oh, wait a minute. If we do this and this and this and this, it's like they catch on some things every once in a while. You're like, oh my God, yes, right here. And then the next episode comes and you're like, okay, well, obviously, hey, even a 17-year-old can hold his wad for 5 minutes, right? I mean, it's like most 17-year-olds aren't going to last that long, but every once in a while on a bright and sunny day, they might. I don't know. It's that thing of, okay, well, I thought they had it, but no, they don't. Anyways. With that said, guys, everybody, please check it out tonight. Come back around. We will do this on Sunday. We will wrap this up on Sunday. And, so we're going to go around and have everybody talk about themselves one last time. Austin, since you did not get a chance to do so, why don't you go down right now and tell everybody about your channel and about yourself, please.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? My name is the Ostinator. I do a bunch of stuff on my channel when I can. I might do more wrestling content. I know I keep saying that, but I think that's what I might go into. I actually might be doing some WCW reviews, actually. I kind of want to... See, I kind of want to go into the more Monday Night War aspect, but I want to focus more on the WCW side of things. So I might
Is WCW still around?
No.
Okay, I'm about to say.
But I want to review the old Nitros and pay-per-views and eventually Thunder.
Yeah. Good show. Good ones.
You don't want to review Thunders there. No,
I'm gonna have to, man.
No. You when they were going through their wars, Thunder was good.
They were
going through the Monday Night Wars. Thunder was good. They were doing some good stuff. They were getting all the ratings. People were watching them more. I think you should. Eric Bischoff does do you ever watch Eric Bischoff's 83 Weeks?
I do, yes.
Yeah, you should do that.
I might get a panel together to review those. I don't know who, but I'll figure something out.
Hit me up, man. I'll come on some of them.
Yeah.
That was my favorite time in wrestling.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I mean, Shifty, if you're also interested, you're invited too if you want.
Cool.
Yeah, so just check me out when you can. I'm based on everybody else's shows, roundtables on Sundays. You can find me on the Hangout on Wednesday and just everywhere else. So check me out when you can. Chris, thanks for having me on.
Okay, very good. And Shifty.
I'm still Shifty.
Very good. And
oh shit, you're still shitty? My bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nindroid.
Alrighty, you guys can find me on Star Wars Network. Again, I'm doing that live reaction to Mando finale tonight. Yeah, waking up at 3 o'clock for this. Oh boy. Anyway, and then also I'm gonna be starting up Galactic Chat again. Actually during June. So yeah, where we're gonna be reviewing the EU novels. We're actually gonna be starting. We're going to start with Heir to the Empire because of Thrawn being very popular right now. We're like, oh yeah, we might as well look back at the source material of Thrawn and, see what the Heir to the Empire trilogy was like. So yeah. And thank you, Chris, for having me on.
Not an issue, not a problem. And Anzo.
Yeah, Bigger Ford Entertainment, guys. Tomorrow night will be the OOC. Make sure you check that out. Other than that, man, it was a great show. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Before we go, let's see here. What will Mandalorian's fate be in tonight's season finale? He dies, got 56%. He'll be rescued, 21%. He'll be mind wiped 10%. He'll ditch the creed 10%. That poll though had 37 votes. I'm with don't know where, don't know how, but will Grogu utter the words, "This is the way," in the finale? 76% said no. 23% said yes. And the grades says A or A minus got 70%, C minus, C or C plus got 23%, B minus, B or B plus got 5%, and F, D minus, D or D plus got 0. So, with that said, guys, I am Chris Knight. The Real Review 3000 is my channel. This is Khaos Central. We appreciate having all of you guys on here. And we'll be back next Sunday, so make sure you check that out for the Mandalorian Roundtable finale, where we get to talk about whatever they might throw at us and see if we have another Luke Skywalker moment. I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out, though.
We
With
will.
that said, guys, everybody.
Mace Windu,
Right.
guys.
Yeah, maybe. Never know. Peace.
Peace.
Later.